Hello everyone, this is Shadows. I'm here with Shadow Gaming, here to present to you guys some StarCraft 2 action. It's going to be Oneninja, the Red Terran down here at the bottom right hand side of the GSL Whirlwind, versus his opponent, CoSM's Shizzler, at the top left hand side playing Zerg, again of the GSL Whirlwind. I actually had the pleasure of casting this game live, however about the 10-minute mark I kind of got up and did my own thing. Apparently this was a pretty epic game. I don't remember who won. This I just casted on Saturday, so it was like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it was about, tonight's Sunday, so it wasn't even a full day, and I forgot who won. All I know is that this is the first game of a best of 3 series, and I'm just recasting this so that way both people wind up on YouTube, because what we do with Infinity Gaming is we do upload all the games to the Infinity Gaming's channel on YouTube, but this one isn't getting uploaded there just yet because the person who was recording it for the channel kind of lost internet. You'll see that relatively soon, but as you can see, actually both players opting to go ahead and scout here, and they're scouting the wrong position first. Oneninja, as you can see, has a rally point at the geyser down here, the bottom left-hand side, and then he has a rally point all the way up to the top left-hand side, whereas Shizzler kind of didn't. He's just sending his drone wherever. Actually, let's take a look at Shizzler. Yeah, he's just kind of telling his drone to go somewhere. And you can see we actually have like 4 or 5 people watching this. Yeah, 6 people watching this. So, there were a lot of people watching, and I actually kind of lagged out a little bit as well. But again, I forget who wins, and I'm not going to spoil any of this for any of you guys. But I will let you know, actually, Oneninja does get supply blocked a lot. But we see just a standard wall off versus Zerg. Nothing too extreme. And we see the Zerg going for the hatch first, and then getting the spawning pool just slightly later. And I also want to note that this is a gold v gold level game. This was casted on Saturday, and we do our B team open, which is bronze all the way through gold. I entered in the last B team tournament, but wind up having to cast it, not this weekend that just passed, the previous weekend. And yeah, it went alright, I guess. One of you guys, Deathstruck, you showed up to watch it a little bit. I thank you for showing up and watching. I don't know what else to say, but thank you. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out the rest of these games, go to youtube.com/infgaming2011, I believe. There'll be an annotation in the top right-hand side over to the YouTube channel for Infinity Gaming. You can also check us out at infgaming.net. And yeah, that's the thing. They are the guys who I'm casting for now. Casting mostly StarCraft 2, but it'll be hopefully League of Legends and Dota 2 as well soon, once we start getting tournaments going for League of Legends and Dota 2. But we see the tech lab on the barracks now. I believe it's going to be for an early stim. Not early stim, but relatively quick stim. He does have the barracks the factory with the reactor on it for double Hellion production. And we also see the metabolic boost for our Zerg player. This is on obviously the most recent patch. As I said, this was played Saturday, March 2nd. It's March 3rd. Somewhere like that, or something like that. So, yeah, there was like almost no time between when I got this replay and when it was played. Or what I meant to say, there's no time where they actually could have patched StarCraft 2 before HOTS comes out in a week, or a little over a week. And while I'm saying all of this, we see the the lair coming down for Shizzler at his main. And what do we have from Oneninja? No, we actually have a starport on the tech lab now, and we still have a tech lab on the barracks, but he did swap them, and as I said, Oneninja does get supply blocked pretty heavily a lot of the times. He knows it, and we had a great time just poking fun at him for that. We actually see a couple of Hellions doing a quick run by here. One Hellion gets taken out, a second almost gets taken out when he goes into the base, and now those drones are just lining up to get roasted, and there you go, they're just roasting away. That is a lot of drones being killed right there. I'm going to check after this at how many drones were actually killed, because I completely forget. Again, I was, like, after we had our streamer DC, I pretty much gave up on watching. They're still going, and so right now it's been 10 workers killed, 12 workers, 13, and now a bunch of Lings being killed as well. That is a lot for the cost of, what was that, 6-7 Hellions, somewhere around there? So about 600-700 minerals for 650 or so, with all those drones. That's pretty worth it. We see the Banshees out now, Banshees on the medevac just came out as well, and another Banshee's on the way. We still have 2 Hellions at a time being produced. We don't have Stam Combat Shield or Concussive Shell for the Marauders out yet. We have a Macro Hatchery for Shizzler on the way now. And this is actually pretty interesting. He doesn't have a Queen dedicated for creeping. Actually, never mind, he does. He has one right here in between his main, and actually right there, we see the streamer gets DC'd, Infinity's Morris. And I actually paused the game. Yeah, see, I'm saying to go ahead and pause the game, and we do wind up pausing here, and I get confirmation from the admins with the tournament that they should just go ahead and continue with the game. But we actually see the +1 range attack now on the way for Shizzler. We see a Raven coming out for Oneninja, and a second factory. This is pretty interesting. And the medevac's kind of doing nothing here. Again, remember, this is on Wings of Liberty. Yeah, so keep playing after this. We'll see, yada yada yada. Just had to make sure that the players were actually ready to continue. But yeah, we got +1 range attack on the way for Shizzler. We have a Raven being produced by Oneninja. We have 2 Hellions at a time, another factory coming down. Got the command center on the low ground, which that's a little ballsy, but not too much, because he is kind of walled in here. Has that gap that he just filled in there. Remember, that is a neutral supply depot. So he can go ahead and attack that and not lose supply. But this is actually pretty nice from Oneninja. He's got 2 Banshees moving out now. One to the north, northeastern side. One to the northwest. And they're going to do a multi-prong harassment, I believe, on that main of Shizzler. We actually see the third now from Shizzler coming out. And this is relatively undefended. There's just a Queen, and we actually see a drop as well. A drop of Hellions coming in to Shizzler's base. And this can be very deadly if left unchecked. We got the Banshee inside with 7 kills on it. I'm thinking that was just mostly Lings. And now the drones are just getting harassed left and right here. The Hellions do go down, but how many drones were killed total? 21 versus 4. And what was it before? 12? That was a lot of workers just assassinated there. And I believe, yeah, we just had the Banshee over here just kind of chilling here, hanging out. We got Infernal Preigniter on the way for Oneninja. We have another Raven. And again, 2 Hellions at a time. Another factory on the way. The factories do have, these 2 factories over here have tech labs, which indicates to me siege tanks and maybe Thors. And we see the Gleo Reconstitution on the way now for the Roaches, as well as the +2 range attack. We've got Overlords on the way. Tons of drones actually too. Got 12 drones on the way for Shizzler. A nice... I can see what Oneninja's trying to do here. He's trying to harass the drone line even more with that Banshee, but Spore Crawler's in a nice position to kind of deny that. And the Queen's there as well, so there wasn't going to be too much harassment. Gonna go ahead and get a lot of damage on this Evo Chamber. I don't think it's gonna be enough to actually kill the Evo Chamber though. That Banshee better run away. The Banshee better go. Banshee survives with 15 health. and you may actually be able to catch those drones that are transferring right now, but Banshee was just a little too far away. Got some spine crawlers, some spore crawlers, all laid out now for Shizzler, protecting most of his bases from any sort of drops. The only place that is vulnerable to a drop is right over here in the main, just because the main, look at how big it is. It is big enough to fit every production facility for a Terran, and then some. He's actually building another command center in his base, and we have a baneling nest on the way right now for Shizzler, which this is confusing me. Shizzler has Roach, he has the Roach tech, he has the +2 range tech almost done for the Roaches, he has tunneling claws, he also has a lot of drones on the way, he has a baneling nest on the way, and does he have burrow? He does have burrow. That can be for baneling mines. He also has an infestation pit on the way, which tells me he's going towards hive tech. And here we see the siege tank siege mode being researched, and we see siege tanks being built left and, well, 2 at a time. The overseer does see everything, and so for Shizzler, he sees everything that's going on in the base of Oneninja. What does Oneninja know? Oneninja knows nothing. He knows there's a roach warren down. He doesn't know about the baneling nest. He doesn't know about anything else but the third. Like, he knows that there's a third. He knows that there's a roach warren. He just doesn't know that there's a baneling nest. And where is said baneling nest? I'm actively actually trying to find it. And what is it? Oh my god, that's so many structures. Okay, here's baneling nest. Obviously I didn't see it. That's pretty sad that I didn't actually see that. And this is a nice scan from Oneninja. He sees exactly what's there at the natural that can be waiting for him. But little does he know that the base of Shizzler, the third rather, is pretty well protected. He's got roaches and lings here to help defend against the Hellion Banshee and siege tank that's coming in his way. And also mixing in the Ravens, which I greatly agree with. We see 13 infestors getting ready to pop up pretty soon. And they're going to have the pathogen glands upgrade as soon as they pop. So they'll have enough energy for fungals as soon as they pop. The Queen's going to go down here. The Spine Crawler's going to go down. And I like this from Shizzler, running around back to go ahead and get right on top of those tanks as soon as he can. But that hatchery is taking just a substantial amount of damage. The infestors spawn and the infestors die. You guys may notice I don't have everything up to any sort of quality. That's because I like being at like 30 FPS. I can sit smoothly at about 60, but anyway, nice surround right here by Shizzler on the units of Oneninja, and that's a pretty good cleanup by Shizzler right here, sacrificing roaches and sacrificing just pretty much everything he had. The roaches, the infestors, and the lings, but he did lose. Well, he did force Oneninja to lose just about everything, and that's not what I'm looking for. What am I looking for here? Again, you're gonna have to forgive me here. I don't often cast and don't really like casting StarCraft 2, but units killed. 136 for Oneninja versus the 49 of Shizzler. And what is the let's see, what is the one I'm looking for here? You guys gonna have to forgive me on this. Alright, let's see. Here we go. There was a more technology was spent for Shizzler, and more army for Shizzler as well, but also more economy because he does have 4 bases up and running at this point in time. His main's nearly mined out, his natural's getting close to mined out, his third's not even mined out, it's still relatively full on minerals. He is long distance mining with the gas and minerals, and his fourth is just now starting to get mined out. He has a bunch of spine crawlers actually coming up here, and this is actually a really good choice. Static defense you can't go wrong with, and we do have the centrifugal hooks on the way for the banelings. So Baneling Infestor Ling is the name of the game here, it seems like, for Shizzler. In the meantime, for Oneninja, it seems like it's going to be Hellion Tank, Viking, Raven. That is a unit composition if I've ever seen one. 15 banelings on the way. Oh my god, Shizzler, you better get a good hit off on those banelings. Otherwise, that's just not cost effective at all. That is a lot of gas, a lot of minerals sunk into banelings, and they will die in about one hit from those siege tanks. Shizzler's actually supply blocked right now. Overlords for him dying left and right. I don't actually think he realizes how many overlords are just being killed here by those Vikings. Meantime, a nice swing around here by Shizzler, but I don't think it's worth it. He did lose banelings for relatively nothing. He's losing roaches as well left and right. A nice run right there in the siege tanks, keeping most of the infestors alive, and now siege tanks caught out in pom-pom mode, and they're gonna die left and right. However, nice tracking. Nice seeker missiles right there by the Ravens. That is something people should be careful about. I guess people don't realize, you don't have to research anything really for Ravens to be useful. Yes, the Caduceus reactor would be nice. No, that's for medevacs. What am I talking about? The Corvid reactor is nice for Ravens, but it's not necessarily an upgrade you need. I believe they did reduce the energy in this patch, in the live patch for Wings of Liberty, on the amount of energy it costs for a Raven to use his Seeker Missile. Well, its Seeker Missile, rather. And we do have another medevac just kind of standing out here doing nothing for Oneninja, rather. See a sensor tower being built over here at the natural, between the natural and the 4th, and we also see one over at the 3rd. And Oneninja's going to know exactly what's going on here. As we can see, the vision of Oneninja, he sees everything over here on the right-hand side. He actually sees a bunch of lings, and now just a bunch of lings getting ready to get roasted here by all those Hellions. That was a good choice by Shizzler to move back here. Now I'd actually like to see better creeps by Shizzler, but again, this is a gold v gold game. Can't really expect the best. And nice by Shizzler splitting up his forces, but it doesn't really do much. There's nothing being built over here. There's really nothing here except an SCV and a medevac, but nice fungals right there on the Hellions. However, the infestors get roasted away. Same thing with the Zerglings, and the roaches now trying to clean up the siege tanks yet again. And this is just not a good trade-off at all for Oneninja. Or not for Oneninja, for Shizzler. He's losing roaches, he's losing everything, and all he's killing are Hellions. He's getting some siege tanks, but mostly Hellions. And what is it that I'm looking for here? Here we go. Unit resources lost. Why can't I always remember that? I can when I'm casting live, but not now. Look at the difference. It's about that's a 5,000 resource difference between Shizzler and Oneninja. And yes, Shizzler's been mining on more bases for a longer time, but really against Terran it kind of doesn't matter, especially when the Terran's turtling like this. And the Overseer catches the 4th now being thrown down by Oneninja, which will tell Shizzler a lot, but it won't necessarily do anything in particular. And seeing this, seeing what Oneninja sees right now, he knows about the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th. But let's see what he decides to do with all this. He's sending Hellions actually over to the 5th, which is undefended. And I'm going to go ahead and bring up the units killed. We see worker skill just skyrocketing here for Oneninja. He's killing a lot of those, just a lot of those drones, and they were forced to build spine crawlers. Spine and spore crawlers rather. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually got cancelled here in the next few seconds, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. No, they actually get finished. I guess Shizzler wants to have some static defense. Nice fungal right there on the Hellions and on the Vikings. And on the siege tanks as well. That's a lot of damage on the siege tanks. The infestors trying to move closer to the siege tanks. They do toss the infested Terrans out right on top of the siege tanks. And the siege tanks actually kill themselves. And how many times did I say siege tanks in one sentence? Oh my god. And Hellions and tanks clean up the rest. But really, there were several infestors that died there. Several tanks died. A lot of infested Terrans. But really, when you're losing infested Terrans for the cost of siege tanks, it works in the favor of the Zerg because infested Terrans are free. All it is energy units. You know, they still benefit from the 2-2 or the 2-1 or 2-0 right now for Shizzler with the range attack, but not in Heart of the Swarm rather. And what do we have on the back foot of this for Oneninja? He's still building tanks, he's still building Hellions. And this, I think, is a misclick here. He's building Hellions on the factory with a tech lab instead of... Well, I guess he has a lot of queued over at the factory with the reactor. But he's doing nothing with his barracks. He hasn't researched anything at his barracks, nothing at his starport. He has everything but 250mm strike cannons for his Thors over at the tech labs with his factory. So I'm interested to see what he does. He can produce another tech lab or another reactor on this lone factory, but I don't know if he will or not. He may have forgotten about it. And we see another two Ravens, in fact, on the way for Oneninja. Oneninja with a pretty sizable army here in the center. This is a pretty scary army with the one attack, soon to be one armor as well, on the way for the ground. And the air don't have any upgrades, but really all he's up against in the air are overlords and overseers, so it doesn't matter as much. And we see the Greater Spire on the way for Shizzler, which tells me he's going for that Broodlord tech. Broodlord or... well, I guess it would have to be Broodlord. We see the +2 melee attack on the way and +1 ground carapace on the way for Shizzler as well, to affect his Broodlings, affect his Roaches, affect his Banelings and his Zerglings. A nice little cleanup right there by Oneninja on the creep spread of Shizzler, but nothing to actually stop him. And nice sling placement by Shizzler right there. It's going to spot exactly if the 6th, I believe, goes down, or 5th goes down for Oneninja. And there is another hit squad of Lings over here that will spot that base being built and forces it to be cancelled. And so Oneninja now is really mining off of one base. Let's see. Yeah, one base, because his other base is almost mined out. About 1,500 resources in total between all of these mineral fields, and it's quickly dwindling. We see one of the mineral fields with 3 to 4 SCVs on it. And actually, in the meantime, we see nice trade-off here by Shizzler, losing just some Roaches and infested Terrans for the price of tanks and Hellions. That was a good trade-off, and things are starting to even up just slightly, though, however, not so much. But nice play right here by Shizzler, running everything into the spine crawler wall. Nice fungals right there, nice Baneling hits too on those Hellions. That's evening up the score quite a bit, but Shizzler's still so far behind. He is 7,000 resources behind. And here come the Mutas to just go ahead and start cleaning everything up. Because there is no air defense whatsoever aside from the auto turrets that can be dropped, Seeker missile, and the occasional Viking. However, this is a nice goal by Oneninja. He does toss down the auto turrets, which will clean up a lot of those Mutas. In fact, the Mutas will go ahead and die here, mostly to the auto turrets. And nice concave right here by Shizzler, cleaning up all those tanks, all those Hellions, and this is exactly what Shizzler needed to get back into the game. But as you can see, he's not producing anything at this point in time. He has a big bank of minerals and gas. Nice scare right there by Oneninja. However, his tanks are actually killing themselves. The Hellions are dying as well left and right. And we see infested Terrans lobbed out just to do some more damage. The Roaches now are going to go ahead and clean up as much as they can, as well as the infested Terrans. This is just a very brutal game on both sides. Units lost. This is starting to be pretty nasty for both sides. Over 30,000 for Shizzler and almost 30,000 for Oneninja, our Terran. Again though, Oneninja's almost mined out over here. He's getting ready to soon be mined out over here. And he is just now getting this base almost done. But Roaches of Shizzler do spot this base. However, Shizzler has 1, 2, 3 mining bases. However, one of them is dwindling as well. So Shizzler is definitely in a better spot than Oneninja, but not by much. But we did see Broodlords being produced. How many Broodlords are on the field? 15 Broodlords with no upgrades to them, but the Broodlings do have 2-1 for them, which is very good. And now just losing Broodlings for Hellions, that's a very, very cost-efficient trade right there for Shizzler. And there's nothing that Oneninja has on the ground or in the air to actually stop the Broodlords at this point in time. Shizzler can go ahead and lose all of his ground army and it wouldn't matter because of all those Broodlords up in the sky. The Broodlords and the Corruptors are just going to kill everything now of Oneninja. And we see the tanks right there actually getting shots off on themselves, and Oneninja GG's here. And that's what happens when you get Broodlords. You know, yeah, that's what happens when you get Broodlords versus an opponent that doesn't have any air. So, reminder guys, this was, game 1 of the best of 3 series between Oneninja and Shizzler. If you want to see the rest, click on the annotation in the top right hand side. That'll bring you right to the Infinity Gaming's channel. Don't forget to check us out over at infafgaming.net. Other than that, my name has been Shadowswell, and I will talk to you all next time.